I walked into the towering glass building, my heels clicking against the marble floor. Heads turned. People whispered. It wasn't every day that Olivia Sinclair, perfect, poised and polished, strolled into work looking like she had barely survived a hurricane. Makeup smeared. Hair tangled. Blouse wrinkled. I saw the receptionist, a sharp-eyed woman named Carol, lift an eyebrow. "Miss Sinclair?" she asked, her voice uncertain. I gave her a dazed look. "Who else?" I mumbled, swaying slightly. She hesitated. Are you okay?" I blinked at her as if struggling to focus. "Do I look okay?" I slurred. "God, Carol, you always ask the silliest things." Her expression shifted from confusion to concern. "Should I call someone?" I waved a hand. No. Oh wait. I fumbled inside my bag, pulling out a flask I had purchased just for this moment. Unscrewing the cap, I took a deliberate swig of water, but to Carol it looked like vodka. She gasped. "Miss Sinclair." "Shoo," I whispered, holding a finger to my lips. "It's been a long night, Carol." With that, I stumbled toward the elevator, leaving her in stunned silence. The moment I stepped inside and the doors closed, I straightened up, wiped my lips and smirked at my reflection. This was going to be fun. The elevator ride felt eternal, but it gave me time to reflect. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about making Olivia feel the helplessness I had endured for years. The whispered laughs behind my back after she sabotaged my friendships. The job opportunities she made me lose by pretending to be me and failing miserably on purpose. The relationships she destroyed just for fun. She had always worn my face like a mask, twisting my life into a nightmare, making me look like a fool while she reaped the rewards of her perfect reputation. Now I was turning the tables. The elevator chimed and the doors slid open. I stepped out into the bright, sprawling floor of Olivia's office, swaying slightly as I walked past open cubicles. A few employees stared, their brows knitting in concern. I caught snippets of their hushed conversations. "Is Olivia drunk? She looks awful. This is weird. This is so unlike her." That was the point. As I neared Olivia's private office, her assistant Emily nearly ran into me, a tablet clutched in her hands. "Miss Sinclair, your meeting with the board is in 10 minutes. Are you—" She cut herself off, looking me up and down in horror. I swayed on my feet and reached out, resting a hand on her shoulder as if I needed support. "Emily, dear Emily," I murmured. "You're like a daughter to me." Her eyes widened. "Excuse me." "Shoo." I placed a finger to her lips. "Let's just stand here for a moment. Let me soak in your energy." Emily stiffened. "Should I call someone? Maybe you should sit down." I gasped dramatically. "Oh, Emily, you're such a worrier." I pulled away and wobbled toward Olivia's office door. "Now be a dear and let me handle this." I turned the knob and stepped inside, closing the door behind me. The moment I was alone, I grinned. Olivia's sleek, meticulously organized office was now my stage, and I was about to deliver the performance of a lifetime. Let the destruction begin. As I settled into Olivia's pristine leather chair, I surveyed the room with a smirk. Her office was a perfect reflection of the person she pretended to be. Organized, efficient, elegant. A towering shelf of color-coordinated books. Framed awards and certificates. A minimalist desk adorned with an expensive pen set and a single perfectly aligned stack of papers. It was almost laughable. I reached out and swiped the neat stack of papers off the desk, watching them scatter across the floor. A small act of chaos. The first of many. The intercom buzzed and Emily's hesitant voice crackled through. "Miss Sinclair? The board members are waiting for you in the conference room." I grinned, pressing the button. "Of course, Emily. Be there in a jiffy." Silence. I could almost hear her brain short-circuiting on the other end. Good. I rose to my feet, adjusted my already wrinkled blouse and made my way to the conference room. My walk was slow and uneven, as if I had to consciously force each step forward. My performance had to be flawless. The conference room was filled with executives in crisp suits, seated around a long, gleaming table. Their polite chatter died the moment I walked in. A few exchanged nervous glances. Others outright frowned. The CEO, Mr. Calloway, a sharp-eyed man in his 60s, cleared his throat. "Olivia, are you feeling all right?" I let out a short, breathy laugh and slumped into a chair at the head of the table. "Never better, boss man," Whispers rippled through the room. I leaned back and propped my feet up on the table, sighing dramatically. All right, let's get this circus started. Mr. Calloway's eyes narrowed. This meeting is about your upcoming promotion, Olivia. Your impressive track record and leadership skills have made you the top candidate for Vice President of Operations. However, recent incidents have raised concerns. I blinked lazily. Incidents? Oh, you mean that tiny misunderstanding with the client last week? A woman to my right, Janet, the head of HR, cleared her throat. Olivia, you were supposed to close a major deal, but the client reported that you showed up intoxicated and insulted their executives. I gasped, pressing a hand to my chest. Me? Intoxicated? Janet, you wound me. The CFO, a stocky man with silver hair, folded his arms. And then there was the charity gala. I leaned forward, eyes twinkling. Oh, that was a fun night, wasn't it? Silence. I bit my lip. Oops. I mean a night of professional networking. Janet's lips pressed into a thin line. Olivia, we need to know if you can handle the responsibilities of this promotion. I leaned forward and whispered, just loud enough for the room to hear. You ever feel like you're living someone else's life? A stunned hush fell over the room. Then I giggled. Never mind. Let's continue. Mr. Calloway exhaled sharply. Perhaps we should reconvene when you're feeling better. I tilted my head, blinking innocently. I don't get the job. The way their silence stretched was delicious. Janet finally spoke, her voice slow and deliberate. We'll have to reconsider. I pouted. Bummer. Then I stood abruptly, swaying on my feet for dramatic effect. Well, if you'll excuse me, I need to, freshen up. I stumbled toward the door, turned back and winked. Great chat, folks. And then I left. The moment I was back in Olivia's office, I shut the door and let out a breathless laugh. She had ruined my life for years, taking what was mine, making me look foolish. Now she was the fool. And the best part? She didn't even know it yet. The next morning, I sat in Olivia's office, sipping an overpriced caramel macchiato as I scrolled through the company's internal emails. The fallout had begun. Miss Sinclair, Emily's voice called from the doorway, hesitant. I looked up, masking my glee with a confused frown. Yes. Emily stepped inside, wringing her hands. The board requested a follow-up meeting. Mr. Calloway wants to speak with you privately before it. I nodded, feigning worry. Did they say what it was about? Emily hesitated. Not directly, but people are talking. Oh, I bet they were. I gave her a tight smile. Thank you, Emily. I'll handle it. She nodded and scurried out. I leaned back, letting a slow smile spread across my face. Time to see just how much damage had been done. Calloway's office was a grand, imposing space. High ceilings, dark wood furniture, and a massive window overlooking the city skyline. He sat behind his desk, fingers steepled, watching me closely as I entered. I made a show of looking nervous, smoothing my skirt and sitting on the edge of the chair like a student in the principal's office. Olivia, he said slowly, we need to talk. I bit my lip. I figured. He exhaled, rubbing his temples. I won't sugarcoat this. The board is concerned. Yesterday's meeting. It was a disaster. I widened my eyes. I wasn't feeling like myself. Calloway nodded. That much was clear. But this isn't just about one bad day. Clients are questioning your professionalism. Your colleagues have raised complaints. Even HR is involved. I feigned a gasp. Complaints. His expression hardened. You've built an incredible career here, Olivia. But if this continues, your promotion is off the table. I blinked, letting my lip tremble slightly. I understand. He sighed. You're on thin ice. Prove to us you can turn things around, or we'll have to reconsider your future here. I nodded, standing quickly. I won't let you down. As I left his office, I fought the urge to grin. The cracks in Olivia's perfect world were widening, and soon they'd shatter completely. Back in her office, I pulled up my phone and composed a text to Olivia. We need to talk. Urgent. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. Olivia, what the hell is going on? I just got a call from HR. I smirked, taking my time before responding. Meet me at our place. I'll explain everything. I leaned back in her chair, folding my hands behind my head. Olivia had no idea what was coming. The cafe we always met at, the one Olivia used to drag me to when she wanted to gloat about her latest achievement, was the same as ever. Polished tables, overpriced lattes, and a clientele that oozed privilege. It was the perfect setting for our little talk. I arrived early, choosing a table near the back where we wouldn't be overheard. My fingers drummed against the porcelain cup as I watched the entrance, waiting. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Then, at exactly 15 minutes past our agreed time, Olivia stormed in. She looked flawless, of course, her usual designer coat, hair in a sleek bun, makeup immaculate. But her eyes were sharp, furious. She spotted me instantly and made a beeline for the table, heels clicking aggressively against the floor. "What the hell have you done?" she hissed, dropping into the chair across from me. I sipped my coffee slowly, savoring her frustration. "Good to see you too, Liv." Her nails tapped against the tabletop, a nervous tick. "Cut the crap, Ivy. HR called me. My promotion is on the line. And Calloway practically hinted that my entire career is at risk." I tilted my head, feigning concern. "Wow. That's awful." She glared. "Don't act innocent. I know it was you. What did you do?" I leaned forward, lowering my voice. "I simply did what you always did to me. Played the part. Except I wasn't perfect. I wasn't you." Her nostrils flared. "You're insane." I smiled. "No. I'm just tired. Tired of you taking what's mine. Tired of being the loser twin while you waltz through life using my name whenever it suits you." She scoffed. "That was just harmless fun." I leaned back, crossing my arms. "Harmless? You got me fired twice. You made my ex break up with me because he thought I was cheating. You sabotaged every opportunity one had, Olivia." For a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Regret? Then it was gone, replaced by icy calculation. "So what, this is revenge?" I shrugged. "You could say that." She exhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the table. "Fix this." I laughed. "No." Her expression darkened. "I will ruin you for this, Ivy." I met her gaze head-on. "You already did, Olivia. Now it's your turn." She stood abruptly, knocking her chair back. "We're not done." I watched as she stormed out, the weight of our confrontation settling in. No, we weren't done. Not even close. And I couldn't wait for what came next. The moment Olivia stormed out of the cafe, I knew the real game had just begun. The thrill of seeing her unravel was intoxicating, but I also knew better than to underestimate her. Olivia wasn't the type to take a hit and stay down. She'd come back, claws out, and I needed to be ready. I sat there for a few moments, finishing my coffee with slow, deliberate sips. The anger in Olivia's eyes had been real, but underneath it, I had seen something else: panic. And that meant I had finally managed to shake her perfect, untouchable world. But what was her next move? By the time I got back to Olivia's apartment, my apartment for now, I wasn't surprised to find my phone flooded with messages. "Olivia, you think you've won? Think again. Olivia, I don't care what it takes, I will fix this. Olivia, you are going to regret this, Ivy." I smirked, tossing the phone onto the couch. She was scrambling just like I wanted. I had spent years watching her manipulate people, lie her way out of situations, and frame me as the family disappointment. But now, she was the one losing everything. And I had only just begun. I made my way to the bedroom, kicking off my heels. I needed to think. Olivia was backed into a corner, which meant she would retaliate. The only question was, how? The answer came faster than expected. The next morning, I arrived at her office, still masquerading as Olivia, and was met with hushed whispers and wary glances. Something had changed overnight. I could feel it in the air. Emily, Olivia's assistant, was waiting outside her office, looking nervous. "Miss Sinclair," she said carefully, stepping forward. "Mr. Calloway wants to see you." I frowned, putting on my best confused but composed Olivia expression. "Did he say why?" Emily hesitated. "Not exactly, but it seemed urgent." I nodded, adjusting my posture. "Thank you, Emily. I'll go now." The walk to Calloway's office felt longer than usual, but I forced myself to keep my breathing steady. I knocked once before stepping inside. Calloway was seated behind his massive oak desk, his fingers interlocked, expression unreadable. Beside him sat someone I hadn't expected to see. Olivia. My real twin sister. Looking triumphant. Well, well, she said smoothly, leaning back in her chair. It seems we have a bit of a problem. I froze for just a fraction of a second before recovering. What's going on? Calloway sighed, looking from me to Olivia. That's what I'd like to know. Olivia smirked. You see, Mr. Calloway, my dear sister here has been impersonating me. I forced a laugh. That's ridiculous. Oh, is it? Olivia leaned forward, her voice like silk. Because I have proof. She slid a folder across the desk. My stomach twisted as I opened it, revealing surveillance photos, grainy but clear enough to show me entering the office the day before. Calloway exhaled sharply. Would you care to explain, Ivy? And just like that, the game had changed. For the first time since this all started, I felt the stirrings of real panic. Olivia had been prepared. She had planned this, maybe even anticipated my move. I could feel her eyes on me, waiting for my reaction, waiting to see if I would crumble. But I wouldn't. Not yet. I looked up, letting my lips curl into a small, knowing smile. Explain? Sure. But first, Olivia, let's talk about your own history of impersonation, shall we? Her smirk faltered for just a split second. Just enough for me to see that she wasn't as confident as she pretended to be. Game on. The moment hung heavy in the air. Olivia's smirk had faltered, but only for a second. I could practically hear the gears turning in her mind, recalibrating her approach now that I had flipped the game board. Calloway tapped his fingers against his desk, his expression unreadable. Ivy, you've been caught impersonating your sister in a professional setting. If you have something to say in your defense, now would be the time. I let out a breath, steadying myself. Actually, Mr. Calloway, I have a question. Before we continue, did Olivia also provide you with records of all the times she impersonated me? Calloway's fingers stilled. What? I turned to my sister, tilting my head. Because I assume you wouldn't want a one-sided story, right? Should I go ahead and pull up records from my past employers? Maybe the hospital records from when I was misdiagnosed because Olivia went in pretending to be me? Olivia's face hardened. That's irrelevant. Oh, but it's not, I said smoothly, shifting my attention back to Calloway. My sister has been using my name whenever it's convenient for years. The only difference now is that I decided to play her game, just once, and suddenly she doesn't like it. Calloway sighed, rubbing his temple. This is a lot to take in. You're seriously buying this? Olivia scoffed. She's grasping at straws. I mean, really, you're going to believe that I've been pretending to be her? Why would I ever need to? I smirked. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I was the twin who worked hard while you coasted on charm and manipulation? Maybe because you enjoyed ruining my opportunities for sport. Calloway frowned, clearly unsettled. I knew I had to push further. Sir, I continued, leaning forward slightly. If you want to verify my claims, I'd be happy to provide documentation. Emails. Statements. Even old security footage from my past jobs where she showed up as me. Would you like that? Olivia's nails dug into her palm. This is ridiculous. Calloway exhaled, then looked between us. I need time to review everything before making a decision. Until then, both of you are on leave. Olivia's eyes widened. What? You heard me, Calloway said firmly. I won't tolerate deception in this company. If either of you has proof of misconduct, I want it on my desk by tomorrow. I nodded, satisfied. Olivia, however, looked as if she'd swallowed glass. Outside Calloway's office, Olivia grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I yanked free, leveling her with a calm, victorious gaze. No, Olivia. I just made sure that, for once, you don't get to control the narrative. She stormed off without another word, and for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Power. The following morning, I woke up earlier than usual, my mind already calculating my next steps. Olivia had spent years manipulating people, twisting reality to suit her needs. But this time, I had forced her into a situation she couldn't wriggle out of so easily. I dressed sharply, wanting to look the part of someone who was in control. The moment I walked into the office, all eyes were on me. The whispers, the stolen glances. I knew everyone had heard about the confrontation. Emily, Olivia's former assistant, approached cautiously. You know, she said hesitantly, I always knew something was off with Olivia. She treated people like they were beneath her. But seeing the way you handled everything, I respect that. I gave her a small smile. Thank you, Emily. That means a lot. People were starting to see me as Ivy, the real Ivy, not the shadow of my sister's manipulations. But I should have known Olivia wouldn't go quietly. One evening as I was leaving the office, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. Ivy, Olivia's voice came through, sharp and venomous. You think this is over? My fingers tightened around the phone. It is over, Olivia. You lost. She laughed coldly. You really think I'm just going to disappear? You took everything from me. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. No, Olivia. You did this to yourself. There was a pause, and then in a voice so low it sent a chill down my spine, she said, You have no idea what you've started. The line went dead. I stood frozen, the weight of her words settling over me like a storm cloud. Maybe Olivia was out of the company. But something told me she wasn't done playing her games just yet. And this time I had no idea what she was planning next. The tension of Olivia's last words clung to me like a storm cloud. I wanted to believe she was finished, that I had finally freed myself from her grasp. But deep down I knew Olivia better than that. She never accepted defeat, not without a fight. The next few days were uneventful, but my paranoia grew. I kept my head down at work, determined to make good on my second chance. I was earning my colleagues' trust, and for the first time I felt respected for my own merits. But then the emails started. The first one was subtle. An anonymous message sent to my work inbox. Did you really think you could take her place? I deleted it, telling myself it was nothing. Maybe a prank, someone in the office stirring up old drama. But then came another. You don't belong here. And another, we all know what you did. Each one sent chills down my spine. Was it Olivia? Had she found a way to worm her way back into my life? I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike. One evening as I left the office, I noticed a car idling across the street. It wasn't familiar, but something about it set off alarm bells in my mind. I quickened my pace, refusing to look back as I reached my apartment. Inside, I locked the door behind me and took a deep breath. I had to be imagining things. Olivia was gone. She had no power here anymore. But then my phone buzzed with another unknown number. I hesitated before answering. Hello. Pause. Then in a voice I knew too well, Olivia whispered, Miss me? My blood ran cold. I wanted to believe I had won, that I had beaten her at her own game. But as her laughter echoed in my ear, I realized the truth. The game was far from over. I sat frozen on my couch, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Olivia's voice had been like a ghost from the past, a whisper of unfinished battles. I had worked so hard to free myself from her shadow, but she was back. This time lurking in the darkness, unseen but ever present. I forced myself to take a deep breath. Panicking wouldn't help. I needed to think. Olivia thrived on control, on manipulation. If she was reaching out now, it meant she was planning something. The next day at work I kept my head down, but the unease was impossible to ignore. Every time my email dinged, I half expected another anonymous message. Every time the phone rang, my stomach twisted. But the day passed without incident, until I stepped outside the office. The same black car was parked across the street. I stopped mid-step, my heart pounding. Was she watching me? Was this another mind game? I turned on my heel and walked the other way, taking a longer route home. Every time I glanced back, the car remained, trailing me at a distance. I refused to let her scare me. Not this time. I took out my phone and called the one person I knew could help. Detective Alvarez, the officer who had investigated Olivia's past schemes. Detective, I think my sister is stalking me. There was a pause before he spoke. Ivy, are you sure? She lost her job, her influence. What does she gain from this? I don't know, I admitted. But she called me. She's sending anonymous emails. And now I'm being followed. Alvarez sighed. I'll look into it. But be careful, Ivy. Olivia has nothing to lose now. That makes her dangerous. That night, sleep was impossible. Every creak of my apartment made me jump. Every shadow seemed to hold her presence. I checked my locks twice, then a third time, knowing it wasn't paranoia if the threat was real. And then at 3 a.m. my phone buzzed again. A single text message from an unknown number. You took everything from me. Now it's my turn. The game was no longer just psychological. Olivia was escalating. And I had no idea how far she was willing to go. I barely slept after Olivia's last message. Every noise in my apartment sent me into a panic. Every shadow seemed darker, more menacing. I knew Olivia was close, but I had no idea what she was planning. The uncertainty gnawed at me. The next morning I went to work early, hoping the office's familiarity would calm my nerves. But as soon as I stepped into the building, I felt the shift in the air. People whispered behind their hands, throwing me furtive glances. My stomach twisted with unease. Then I saw it. My office door was open. Inside, my desk was covered in printed emails, screenshots, and documents that I had never seen before. My heart pounded as I stepped closer, scanning the pages. Someone had fabricated messages, making it seem like I had been leaking confidential company information. At the bottom of the pile was a termination notice, with my name on it. A cold chill ran through me. Olivia had done this. My boss, Calloway, appeared in the doorway, his expression unreadable. "Ivy, we need to talk." I swallowed hard and followed him into his office. The moment I sat down, he slid one of the printed emails toward me. "This was sent from your company account," he said. "It contains sensitive internal documents. Care to explain?" I shook my head vehemently. "I never sent this. Someone hacked my account." Calloway sighed. "I want to believe you, but IT has confirmed the emails were sent from your login credentials." I felt my blood run cold. Olivia had outdone herself this time. She wasn't just trying to rattle me, she was trying to destroy me completely. "I need time to prove this isn't me," I said, forcing my voice to remain steady. "Please, Calloway, you know my work. I would never jeopardize this company." He studied me for a long moment before nodding. "You have 48 hours to prove otherwise, Ivy. If you can't, I have no choice but to let you go." I left his office in a daze. I had 2 days to undo whatever Olivia had done. But how? I needed help. Fast. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed again. Another message from an unknown number. "Checkmate, Ivy." I gritted my teeth. Olivia thought she had won. But she underestimated me. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot.